Land liberation day. Oh, what a great day that must be when Africa is free. Oh, what a great day that must be when Africa is free.
Selassie King Jah, Rastafari. Selassie King Jah, Rastafari.
Power of the Island Trinity. My name is Ras Ivan Ali, the ancient Nyabingi order from Scotts Park, Jamaica. I greet everyone in the island name of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I, the conquering lion of Judah, elect of the Almighty and the light of this world. Greetings again to each and every one in Haile Selassie I. Prince and princess must tread out of this land, Egypt. Ethiopians shall stretch forth their hands unto the Most High, Emperor Haile Selassie I. Haile Selassie I. Jah Rastafari. Now I and I are the ancient from that time until this time. Ethiopian must stretch forth their hands unto the Most High. O thou Most High Jah Rastafari of Ethiopia, O Divine Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I first, I hear it's coming to our heart to dwell in the path of righteousness, lead us. Help us to forgive that we must be forgiven. Teach us love, loyalty, and earth as it is in Isle of Mount Zion. I adore to I and I thy wise mind, knowledge, and understanding to do thy will. I blessing unto I and I Selassie I, that the hungry be fed, the sick nourished, the aged protected, the naked be clothed, and the infants cared for. I live I and I from all evil, that I must prove fruitful in these perilous days. When our enemies are past and decay, in the depth of the sea, the depth of the earth, or in the belly of the beast, give each and every one of I and I here a place in thy holy kingdom. With the power of the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, conquering lion of the tribe of Judah, elect of himself and the light of this world. O Divine Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I. He is the first ancient king of Eurasia, Alpha and Omega. Without beginning, without end, first and forever. I take stock upon Iron Spirit and ruler of the Iron World. Haile I,
Selassie King Jah, Rastafari.
Haile I,
Selassie King Jah, Rastafari.
Haile I,
Selassie King Jah, Rastafari.
I and I, the ancient of days, non-political, non-violence, non-abusive, only offending repatriation forward to the Holy Land. Jah
Rastafari.
Jah
Rastafari.
Jah
Rastafari. King Selassie.
Bless his name continually.
Haile Selassie King Rastafari.
Haile
Selassie King Rastafari.
Haile
Selassie King Rastafari.
I ever give thanks and I reason to the Most High, Rastafari. For his keeping pure and tender mercy towards us. The Rastafari, who give us strength, that I can be here this morning in Africa. In Africa. Mongolia in Africa. Giving eyes to the Rastafari. After so many years of conquering to Babylonians, it has happened that I am in Africa, heading for Ethiopia, doing the work of repatriation about His Majesty's work. We know that enough suffering is in the West there. So, they give I and I the health and strength that I can be here seeking help for repatriation at this time. Many times and traps and snails taking our way, but just help us to overcome them. Yes, not fully, but almost. I'm overwhelmed to see the prodigal son return home after so many years in tribulation. Home once more, never return back, always forward. Rastafari. I praise His name of His Majesty. I continually. Yeah. Hail the eye! Hail the eye! Thunder, brimstone and fire. Kill campment for blind all those that fight against I and I now. Rastafari. This is Rastafari. Lightning and thunder, brimstone and fire. Conquer them all. Yeah. A new name I come in. Rastafari, thy new name. Not Jah. Rastafari, my new name. Turbulent to the heathen. And I.
Last year, Rastafari.
Hallelujah.
Last year, Rastafari.
Well, I mission, is about repatriation governmentally, because repatriation is a government-to-government business. So I is here to unite the kings of Africa through the theocracy administration, because the kings must gain back their glory. And the only way they can gain back their glory, all those Africans that are in the western part of this globe, or anywhere, there is where our glory shall begin. So I is here not for wealth, nor riches, nor fame, nor glory, but is about repatriation, reparation, and petition. And the petition have to come from the Africans, them at home, to support I where repatriation is concerned. So I is here to fulfill the prophecy, because Isaiah 43 said, I will say unto the north, give up Ethiopia is in the northeast of this earth. Ethiopia is not in a position to give up to the theocracy administration. The theocracy administration is His Majesty government, internationally and universally. Because anywhere His Majesty trod, any country, they have to bow to the high field marshal, general, Haile Selassie, the King of all kings. So I and I duty is about unity. I will even make mention of 12 pieces of stick. That is prophecy. You can only break up one piece of that stick. But what happened to those that bound together? That is unity. That's why the world is running underneath this condition. Where North America imperialism and neocolonialism exists. Still we cannot live without them, nor they live without us. But Europe is for the European, Asia is for the Asiatic people, and Africa is for the African. Those at home and those abroad. So I and I duty is to unite the kings of Africa underneath the government of His Imperial Majesty. And I had seen signs. I had seen signs happen. Because I coming from the west, and we approach kings of kings of South Africa, and the king has given I a piece of land. But it appears to I like the king does not have no authority over the land. It appears like it's a chief. So where I is concerned, I dealing with unity. Started from the kings of kings. So where I is concerned, I is on a spiritual duty, also a material duty. So where I is concerned in Africa, I want to bring back the glory of Africa. Why I say that? It had been written, I have sent thee to Babylon to learn their good ways, but not a partaker of their bad ways. So all the good ways that I learned from Babylon outside of Mama Africa, tomorrow it will be a great help economically to Africa. So I were sent to Babylon to learn their good ways, but not a partaker. You know? In the name of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I. For his duty, I is on, where repatriation and reparation is concerned. And that is the only way Africa can gain back her glory. Because we were sent, as I said before, we were sent to Babylon to learn their good ways, but not a partaker of their evil ways. So the good ways that I learned from Babylon, economically speaking, it will be a great help to Africa. Aye.
All kings in Africa unite each other together to continue the work of His Majesty. He leads us here to continue the work, so we have to carry it on. So we want all kings in Africa to come together. This is the reason about the work of His Majesty, Rastafari. Haile! King of kings and Lord of all lords. Not no Lord, I am made Lord. law of all laws, Rastafari.
All the precious name of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie, and Empress Meninai, our Heavenly Mother. I would like to say how grateful and how thankful we are to be here in Africa. You know, for us it's been a long, long, long journey to be actually here. And now we're here, we'd like, as the ancients has discussed, our main mission is to alert and awake the Idem on our responsibility and their responsibility of repatriation. You know, we are our forefathers was taken away from Africa, and we, the children of this dispensation, want to come home. And this is our mission, to let ones and ones know that we're out there in the West and want to come home. Look, wherever you go in the West,
Yes.
yeah, you've got Canada, you've got Jamaica, you've got the Caribbean, the whole of Caribbean. It's not just Jamaica alone. You've got the Caribbean, you've got Americas, you've got England, you've got Canada, you've got France, you've got... That is the West. Everywhere you go there and you see a black person, they're Africans. And the majority would like to come home if the possibility was there for us to come home. You know, the preparation is not here for us to come home. But a lot of us, business people, you've got so many individuals that wants to come home. But Africa has to welcome us home. We can't just come in under immigration laws and things like that. We want to come home as return residents, knowing we're coming, we're free to do our business, we're free to move around, not having to be jumping borders every month because of passport, paperwork, visas, and we want to come home. You know, Africa was our home. Our foreparents came from here. We don't know no difference. There's ones of us who, from birth, we've never fit in to society because we're not of them. We've got our children who does not fit into the school systems, and because we think that we are different. We are different, you know. It's who feels it knows the situation that we're in at the moment. And for many, many years, we've been crying to come home. The governments have done nothing about it, us coming home. So naturally the ancients has to come here themselves and bring an awareness to the people. And what we are actually asking for is a petition, if it is at all possible, doable, that we can acknowledge how many people actually want us to come home. Because it doesn't make sense we want to come home and Africans don't want us. That's the other side. You know, we're in that.
Okay.
And we're not dealing with governments, we're dealing with the people. Because it's the people who's going to have to accept us. Jamaica has a long history.
Yes.
You understand the history of Jamaica. We've been Jamaicans have always been known to be a fighting nation, people. We were the slaves that were, the slaves that went into Jamaica was the slaves that they couldn't control on the slave ships.
Okay.
So they were sent to Jamaica because Jamaica is such a small island, you couldn't swim nowhere. The nearest island is Cuba, which may be 90 miles away. You can't swim that island. So you see, Jamaica is an open prison. It's a paradise.
Okay.
We call it a pimper's paradise. If you've got money, you can go to Jamaica, have the best holiday. It's a beautiful place. You go there, you think, who really wants to live Jamaica? But it's been a hard struggle for us to even get here. People wouldn't understand. At the end of the day, what you realize is that it's not about money. It's not about, like the ancients say, it's not about richness. It's where your heart, where is home? Home is your heart, where your heart is. And we've never, ever, as black people, been 100% accepted in Jamaica. If you look at our coat of arms in Jamaica, it says, out of many, one people. So you come to Jamaica, you'll find Indians, you'll find whites, you'll find Chinese, you find every nation in Jamaica. We've learned to live alongside one another for the last 200-300 years. But it doesn't necessarily mean that we've ever been at the top of the ladder.
Never equal.
We've never been equal because we've always been seen as outsiders anyway. All of Africa was Ethiopia. There was no Ghana, South Africa, Zambia. This was all one Ethiopian empire. So we were all one. We were taken away. We never left here voluntarily. We were taken away as slaves. Now our Irish tell us we want to go home, we want to know our home, and now we come and see it and we're thinking, what? This is what you're taking away from us? We want to come home. This is our home. Now we know. It's not different from Jamaica. You come to Jamaica, you see it looks exactly the same, but it's just that much smaller. But it's exactly the same. Apart from the weather, mind you. Because the weather, you know, we still got to get around that one yet. But no. There is millions of people out there in the West that wants to come home, to answer your question. It's a very good question. You know, what I personally want, maybe, what's happening to Africa is been systematically designed. They came in and it's divide and conquer. So the more divided you are, obviously the more strength that your oppressor has got over you. I think personally, even if you speak with the ancients, they'll explain to you that the first thing that the Africans need to do is unite amongst themselves. Once you start uniting again amongst yourselves, then you can look at the bigger picture, and then
Things will change.
Things will change. It'll have to, because you're together. But once you're fighting as these little splinter groups, it waters down to nothing, and it's to who knows who. If I happen to know this person, then I have a better chance. It's restoration time. You've got to restore Africa to how it was, and then you can go in and apply for your individual rights or whatever. I don't know how best to explain. Maybe the chairperson can explain that to the island. But you need to come together. We personally, when we come back here, we are asking for land. We're not asking for finance. We are coming back with reparations, which meaning we are going to be able to bring in funds into Africa. But of course, before we can do that, we obviously need land. It's a catch-22. You know, the land is there. I don't know how the IDEM has worked it till it got, but you've got to see that you've got to unite. Without that, as long as you stay divided, it will never get anywhere. It's not going to be. It's going to be going round in circles. They've deliberately put it this way that you're divided. You're divided now against tribes, against coloureds, against blacks. One person even said, yes, remember, say yesterday, Mama, remember, say, fam, you've got burnt skin. You're an Ethiopian. So that shade of your colour skin shouldn't matter anymore. We're all Ethiopians. We've got to get back to that point to know that we are one. We are one. Then we can start work together. But to say, okay, I'm this, I'm that, you're still going to be faced with this year in, year out. You've got to get back to the foundation and realize who we are. We are one people, one nation. One Ethiopian nation, because before the colonists came around, we were one Ethiopian empire. That's what we need to realize. We was divided, not by choice, but by force. Now then, we can't say we're going to take it back by force, but the reality has to be taught to these people, and then maybe we'll find a way of accomplishing this, solving this situation.
The petition is all about the Africans them is to represent I and I.
In return,
Yes, to speak
Yes.
with one voice
Okay.
concerning repatriation.
Okay.
Because what I and I look at, as Mama Sherry have said, that for repatriation to be possible, it also requires us as Africans to acknowledge, the atrocities of the past, where the issue of slavery is also concerned, slavery and colonialism. Because what we are looking at is that as much as the South African history don't fully portray the slavery that took place in Africa, where I people were abducted and taken to the Western world, it is now for us to be in conviction, or to be fully convinced, that when colonialism took place in Africa, especially even here in South Africa, when the Europeans came in to take on our natural resources, they didn't just take only the resources, but they've also taken our people as well. But that history has been omitted deliberately. So this time of I redemption as African, which is we are living in the time of African glory, where I is supposed to redeem ourselves as black people, So we see that there is no stone that must left be unturned. African people have been taken away across all the colonies. So it is now that time that Africans have to claim back our people. So that is through the petition, where African people were taken away, which is Asian, have come in request with brethren here in Africa to come and speak in one voice to the government in demanding of repatriation. So when will show that collective voice, it is through the petition that can able to put in signature to say also support the cause of repatriation for Africans to return. As it is happening in Ghana and other African countries, it is the duty now upon our people as much as our kings. Because when our people were taken away, they were not taken from this government system, which is now ruling the Western world government system. It was our traditional leaders that the people were abducted from in their country villages and where they used to stay. So we want the government to realize that through the collective voice now of as African, that we may speak in one voice to the government to say that we
all
also
they
claim
that are mindful of the land
Yes.
from which they were driven captive, they should have the opportunity to return.
Yes, which is the Article 15 according to the Declaration of the Human Rights, that people who were once taken away from their country which they belong, they have the right to return. So this is also part of the human rights that INI is advocating for, to say that the return of INI forefathers is a must.
I asked the question earlier on about how many millions. It doesn't necessarily mean that everyone wants to come back to South Africa. We're talking about all of Africa. You might find one comes back, they might say, oh, I like South Africa, I'll stay in South Africa.
Remember the three different people then?
Thank you, I like Zambia, I'll stay in Zambia. It's just for the awareness for Africa to open up, to give us the choice to come home if we so choose.
True.
We have, we're still second-class citizens outside of Africa. And it should not be so. Anywhere we go in Europe, it's the same thing. Shande, Black Liberation Day. Oh, what a great day that must be when Africa is free. Oh, what a great day that must be when Africa is Bare